France and Russia can plan and coordinate better when they are in the same room and not miles apart. When the French leader leaves, the ultimatum is finally sent. Serbia has 2 days or 48 hours to respond. We'll say 48 hours for dramatic effect. In the ultimatum, Austria-Hungary asks that their police have freedom to investigate the Archduke's assassination in Serbia. Now, no power, not just Serbia, would accept that demand. That is essentially giving up your power to another said power. Austria-Hungary knew that. That was their plan. You could call it a ruse or a setup. Their plan was to seem innocent to the rest of the world, was for it to look like they gave Serbia a chance for peace. However, Serbia accepted all demands except that and even offered a conference if they didn't agree with the terms. Austria-Hungary hates conferences, they always get outvoted, so they denied that and looked to Germany for advice, who was upset they have not declared war already. A month had passed and now Serbia looked like the reasonable one after accepting almost all demands and offering a peace conference. It was all going disastrous for Austria-Hungary, but that was really their own fault. On top of that, it was never communicated to Austria-Hungary's military that war was wanted, so the military wasn't even preparing. They would only be ready on August 14th. What a bummer, they really could have slayed that war if they had just been more organized.
Austria-Hungary's downfall.
They were losing the sympathies of Europe, Serbia seemed reasonable, their army wouldn't be ready, and Germany was pressuring them to start war. Austria-Hungary was backed into a corner. They couldn't escape the hole they had dug themselves in. However, an idea was thought of. Maybe they could declare war, easing Germany. Then use that as a threat against Serbia, forcing them to submit, and then win the war before Russia could intervene. This was highly hypothetical, but Austria-Hungary talked themselves into the idea. They had limited options, and they were too stubborn to give up on the idea of war, especially after they had sent an ultimatum that said if it was denied, war would be declared. So war was declared on July 28, marking the start of what would be known as the Great War, or more commonly referred to as World War I.
The Kaiser of Germany returns.
Following this, the Kaiser of Germany had finally returned from his tropical trip. He probably had fun sipping milk from coconuts and whatnot, but now he was faced with a huge problem. Upon his return, he reviewed the ultimatum and decided war was no longer needed. However, it was too late. War had been declared. He tried everything. He attempted to hold conferences, talk about peace, etc. Then, an idea hit him. He thought, if Austria-Hungary only invaded Serbia's capital, which was close to the Austrian-Hungarian border, and halted there, they could declare war and save face, stopping a useless war. Russia wouldn't be able to intervene. He communicated this idea to Chancellor of Germany who was in Berlin. He was skeptical and sent the idea to agents in Austria-Hungary. He says not to push it, and doesn't mention that it was from the Kaiser.
Russia, France, and Britain get involved.
In Russia, Sergei Sazonov gets false reports that Austria-Hungary shelled the Serbian capital. This is obviously false, as the Austrian-Hungarian military won't be ready until August 14th. As one of the last men against full mobilization, he calls for it, and Germany sees this as a threat to them. They're just getting into other people's business. Gosh, Germany. On July 30th, Germany sent an ultimatum to Russia to suspend mobilization. They are given no response and declare war with Russia on August 1st. Germany and France then declare war on August 3rd, since France has got their allies back. Germany decides to prioritize defeating France, since Russia is usually slow with preparing for war. However, due to French mobilization on the French-German border, they had to use a different route. They decide to go through Belgium, a neutral country. However, Britain was furious that Germany invaded a neutral country and got involved. Britain needs to calm down. Germany was just in their flop era. Russia gets ready earlier than expected, so Germany asks Austria-Hungary to help battle them on the east side. However, Austria-Hungary isn't doing the greatest at that, so Germany sends their troops to help out. As of then, a claustrophobic Germany was facing what they had dreaded ever since Russia and France became allies, a war on both sides.
Link between summer of 1914 and World War II.
If you trace back far enough, World War II was also caused by the summer of 1914. It was specifically caused by World War I, and started because of Adolf Hitler's annexation of land, specifically Poland. He did this to return Germany to its former glory, which was destroyed because of the end of World War I, which was caused by the summer of 1914. That same summer also had a hand in the creation of new laws. The Nuremberg trials were caused by the end of World War II, which was caused by World War I, and so forth. These brought 3 new laws: crimes against peace, crimes against humanity, and war crimes. Since we know World War II was technically caused by the summer of 1914, we can trace the making of these laws back to that same time period. The summer of 1914 caused a domino effect of both death and the government development of international law.
Conclusion.
Now all the great powers of Europe were at war. With Germany and Austria-Hungary against Britain, France, Serbia, and Russia, the inevitable fate of Europe was in play, and would cause millions of deaths along with another world war that would follow not too long after. This would cause all great powers of Europe to fall within the years soon to come. The chaotic summer of 1914 was over, and World War I had just begun.
Coin next time to learn about World War I.
Kokichi. It's time for dinner.
Mom?
Come downstairs to eat.
Okay, see you guys next time.